In this video, I visit one of Saigon's most popular attractions, the War Remnants Museum. In operation since 1975, this museum now welcomes 500,000 visitors per year. A highlight of the museum for me was the display of Vietnam War-era helicopters, jets, tanks, artillery, and bombs in the courtyard. I knew about those and expected to see them, and spent a lot of time checking them out. But another highlight was a complete surprise to me. This was another courtyard exhibition about the countrywide prison system in use during the Vietnam War. This exhibit included a lot of thought-provoking information, but be warned, it also contained a lot of grim stories and photographs of prisoner abuse, and even a mock-up of actual prison cells with sound effects. Of course, as is common on Planet Doug, the video doesn't start right at the museum. It begins at the beginning, inside my hotel. I move from my room to the elevator, then to the street. And from there, I walk the 2 kilometers to the museum itself, following lively streets and alleyways. And I pass through one of Saigon's many gorgeous city parks. The War Remnants Museum is spread over 3 floors, and I started at the very top with Exhibit Room 1, Historical Truths. And then I worked my way down through the disturbing Agent Orange exhibit, the moving tribute to photojournalists killed during the war, and many more. The video doesn't end with the museum visit either. I finished my tour with a snack at the museum coffee shop, and in a bonus video clip, a long walk down another bustling lane, plus a stop for some sweet coconut juice. These were still my first days in Saigon, and I was captivated by all the sights and activities around me. It was a full day and a memorable one. So sit back, relax, let me do all the work, and enjoy the video. Welcome back to another exciting day on Planet Doug. I am in Ho Chi Minh City in Vietnam still. I'm here inside my lovely hotel room at the Adenia Hotel. And today is going to be built, or the activities of today is going to be built around visiting the War Remnants Museum. And word on the street is it gets very hot there during the day, and people say go there as early as possible. And it actually opens at 7:30 in the morning. Right now it's 10 after 7. And it's about 2 kilometers away, maybe half an hour walk. So I'm leaving now. I hope to get there before 8 o'clock, before the heat of the day, maybe before the crowds of the day. I hear it's also a very popular museum right now. But I thought I'd start the video here in my hotel room because I do like to document the entire event rather than just starting right at the museum. I'm a big fan of showing the lead up, how you get there. And this is always my starting point for every day here in my hotel room. And this is what I know about the world at the moment, only what I can see from my window. And as you can see, it's sunny. The sun is out. There has been some pretty heavy rain in the afternoons, but I think the rain will stay away for now. And as I put my arm out holding my camera, I can feel the heat. Such a difference from my air-conditioned room to the heat out there. I don't think I've shot any video of this at night, but it's kind of interesting because this whole area is as kind of a light show that goes on at night. Maybe I can end this video by showing a little bit of the contrast. This is what it looks like in the morning, And then at the end of the video, or maybe I'll stick it in right now, I'll show you what it looks like at night. Because there's a big party balcony over there, big party rooftop over here. And they have like laser light shows that flash on all the buildings, things like that. It's kind of interesting. So there's Saigon, and we're gonna head down. It looks very peaceful, very quiet from up here. Let's see if that remains true once you get down to street level. And just exiting the building can be kind of interesting. They actually have a power card system here. So I remove my card. Power will turn off in a couple of minutes, maybe less than a minute. Security on the door is not the greatest here. There's just this very loose doorknob latch, and I think anybody could pop that open if they kind of sneeze in its general direction. And I love this elevator. Very old and creaky. Not very fast either. And I've shown this before. The stairwell heading down. Very atmospheric. And then heading up there as well. That looks like the roof up there. Basically just corrugated tin. I can feel the heat of the sun beating down through that tin. So here it is, time to go down. Ground. So yeah. I keep expecting the elevator to just get stuck. It's like, and then it starts to move. So. All right, stepping out onto the busy street of Saigon. Well, let's see if it's busy. Maybe everything's perfectly quiet this morning. Good morning. There we are. Still relatively cool out here, not too hot. This area right in front of my hotel can get crazy busy. There's some sort of a shipping company there, and other buses use that spot for picking up and dropping off an entire busload of backpackers and travelers. So yeah, the whole sidewalk there can be jammed with people in their suitcases, trucks unloading things. That's something I always notice about businesses and buildings in this part of the world. They all do triple or quadruple duty, and just by looking at a building, like right here, for example, this little office space right there, they could have 15 businesses on the go at the same time. One of these gates will open up, and then suddenly massive amounts of boxes will start pouring out, and you're wondering what the heck is going on in there. And if you go inside, no, thank you, you might find a little factory in there, some sort of assembly process, manufacturing process. You just never know. No, thank you. No, I'm okay. I'm all right. Thank you. So yeah, we're in the heart of the tourism district here. Very active. There's always a ton of stuff going on. Lots of motorbikes for rent. Tours being offered. All these businesses on the side. Like this one right here. Anything you want, they can probably do it for you. Banh mi everywhere. Yeah. Great neighborhood, lots of fun walking around here anytime, day or night. And right here, turn left. Everybody over there enjoying some pho for a breakfast. Very popular breakfast dish. No breakfast for me this morning. I'm just going to I'm going to head straight for the War Remnants Museum. Hello. Not right now. No, thank you. And yeah, I'm just going to head straight to the museum. Maybe I'll have something to eat afterwards. Yeah, if you're on your way somewhere and you start exploring, like check out this alleyway right here. Tons of little hotels, travel agencies, Indian restaurants. It's very easy to get distracted. If you start snacking, you'll never get anywhere. Huh. Wonder if I've gone down the wrong road. I didn't expect it to dead end over here. Gonna have to do a map check, figure out where the heck I am. I thought it was just continuing. Maybe I turned left when I should have turned right. All right, gotta figure this out. I'm already lost. Yeah, right out of the gate. I don't know what I did. I had it all plotted in my brain, but 180 degree wrong choice right out of my hotel. Still trying to think about what about what I did wrong. No, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I was supposed to go in this direction. Still confused. But anyway, I have a little bit of a green. Oh no, just turned yellow. Now I'm thinking maybe I should have accepted all the offers of a ride that I've been getting from Grab drivers and such things. At least they would know where they're going, as opposed to me. I commented on this in a previous video. One thing I love about this city is how quickly the lights cycle. When you do encounter a red light, just like a minute goes by, minute and a half at most, not even that. And then you've got a green light. It just cycles through the reds and the greens really fast. So you don't end up feeling like you're stuck and the lights are never going to change. And as always, I didn't plan on it, but I'm walking by the little Hanoi egg coffee place right up there. All day breakfast. Yeah, I had no plans to go this way at all. Once I walk maybe 100 meters more, I'll stop and check Google Maps again. Make sure that GPS confirms that, okay, now I'm heading in the right direction. I'll stop once I get into some shade on the other side of this street. Yeah, heading in the right direction. And I'm going to try to go through a couple of windy alleyways and go through a park rather than, oh, look at that, buffet style restaurant, rather than heading the whole way there just on the main streets. Going to try and find a couple of small roads to follow. As long as I stay oriented in sort of that direction, doesn't really matter which way I go. Whew. Hot sun. First alleyway. Nice to get off the main street. That's cool. OFA. I have no idea what that could be. club of some kind. Yeah, pick an alleyway, man, and see what you discover. Tea shop over there, beauty salons, tempura. Another spa, health spa and beauty clinic. Very fashionable shops, all tucked away down here. Go Noodles, Bonjour Resto, French restaurant. Oh, hostel and cafe. Look at that. So I have to head this way for a little bit, head into another local park. Oh, heading into the sun here. Just thinking as I walk along here, I can aim the GoPro ahead of me and tell you a couple of things about this museum. I found out that it was operated originally, well, it is still operated by the Ho Chi Minh City government. And this is all according to Wikipedia, that the original version of this museum, it opened in 1975. And if you translate the Vietnamese, it was called the Exhibition House for U.S. and Puppet Crimes. So that gives you an idea of what the purpose of the museum was. It was basically portraying war crimes by the United States and their puppets, basically. And then in 1990, it changed the name again to, what is this? Exhibition House for Crimes of War and Aggression. So it got rid of the U.S. from the name, and it got rid of puppet. It just became the Exhibition House for Crimes of War and Aggression. And then in 1995, I guess there was a normalization of diplomatic relations with the U.S. And the U.S. ended their embargoes a year before that. And then they dropped the references to war crimes and aggression. And so in 1995, they adopted the name that it has today, War Remnants Museum. And I've been to this museum before, but it was decades ago. It was so long ago, I don't know for sure what it was called back then. Out of all those various names, I don't know which name was in use when I came here before. But I don't really remember so much the war crimes part of the museum. I remember mainly all of the weaponry that was on display. And I guess those are the remnants of war, because they have, again, looking at Wikipedia, they've got an UH-1 Huey helicopter, an F-5A fighter, a BLU-82 Daisy Cutter bomb, which I guess is a special kind of bomb, an A-1 Sky Raider attack bomber, A-37 Dragonfly attack bomber, and then a whole bunch of unexploded ordnance, bombs that were dropped that never went off. And of course, they've removed the charges and the fuses. You just have the casing of the bombs left. But I remember that from my first visit long ago. Took a lot of photographs of the helicopters and the jets and all the bombs and things like that. So, yeah, that's where we're going. Quite a large place. If you look at everything, I guess, it can take a couple hours or more to go through the whole thing, spread over several buildings. Costs 40,000 dong. And they say that 500,000 visitors go to this museum every year. So it's quite a popular attraction here with Westerners and yeah, all foreign tourists now. Not surprisingly, I took another wrong turn. I guess I came to a Y intersection without even realizing it, and I went down the wrong branch of the Y. So I'm back on a pretty major street right now, and hopefully I can duck across to the park just up ahead there. Yeah, I think this is the park right over there. Let's see if I can, I was gonna try to cross right here, but timing isn't great. The traffic flow is pretty strong right here. Break in the traffic, to my amazement, because of the street lights up there, and we'll try to get across the rest of the way. This is what's coming at me from this side now, standing out here in the middle of the street. All right, now we've got a break on this side. Found the entrance to the park. There's actually a big construction site right here, but I found a gate. I noticed other people, they look like they're here to do some exercise, and they were going through this gate, so I figured that must be the entrance to the park. And here we are.
Công viên Tao Dan. Công viên Tao Dan.
I don't really need to go through the park. I could follow the street, but there's kind of not a shortcut per se, but call it a park cut that can take me in the same direction. Assuming I don't get lost again. I have a vague idea that I need to head off in that direction, skirting the park. Yeah, lovely spot in here. Everybody's here doing their fast walking. There's like an unwritten law in this part of the world that when you get older and retire, suddenly, for some reason, you have to start swinging your arms a lot. Arm swinging is very important, I guess, to get the blood flowing. This fellow off on the left got some good classic arm swinging going on. There's a woman on a bench over there swinging her arms. Yeah, when you retire, you gotta swing your arms a lot. Yeah, check it out. This is one of the nicer parks that I've seen in a long time. The scale of the trees, the size of them, a lot of greenery. I like how the trails are all kind of circular and curved. Lots of space for arm swinging here. A lot of people walking in a circle and going around and around the park, but also when you're walking, you have to swing your arms. Power walking, I guess. Badminton, very popular here. Classes, of course, aerobics classes. A lot of arm swinging, I'm sure, part of the routine for that class. I always enjoy a good sign telling you all the things you can't do, left to right. No walking on the grass. I didn't realize that. No flower picking, no selling of food. I believe this one, no climbing over the fences, no dog walking, no sleeping, no showering, no littering, no drugs, no alcohol, no swimming, no hunting, no fishing, no motorcycles, no bicycles, no graffiti, no skateboarding, no inline skating, no vandalism and graffiti, and more vandalism. So I guess they have the vandalism all divided up, like no smashing things, no smashing windows, no spray painting, no graffiti, all manner of vandalism not allowed. Children playing in the playground, thumbs up for that. So yeah, I'm leaving the park here, heading down that way. Couple of one or two more zigs and a zag, and I should be at the War Remnants Museum. Getting out of the sun in the park, all that shade is really nice. The temperature feels like it dropped dramatically when I was in there. Felt much cooler. Little oasis right in the middle of the city. Great park right there. You'll never guess, I went the wrong way again at that intersection. I blame it all on filming. I blame it on the GoPro. I literally stood at that intersection. I looked at Google Maps and I decided which way I needed to go. I confirmed it right there, but then when I started walking, I just went the other way. I said, okay, I gotta go this way, but instead I started walking this way. I'm not thinking. I think it was because of the sun direction. I noticed that on this road, the sun was over there, and there were a bunch of really big buildings at the beginning, so I knew I could walk in the shade if I went on this side of the road. And that's how I started walking in this direction, just to stay in the shade. But I was supposed to go the other way. Now, this road might be a little bit challenging to get across, but I'm going to try it anyway. I say challenging just because of the number of cars. You can thread your way through motorcycles, but cars, a little bit more challenging. Ah, yes. Google Maps check. This time I was right. I was supposed to go this way. Next corner, turn left. The museum should be right there. We've arrived. The War Remnants Museum. And it looks like there's a special exhibit underway right now. Trung. Yeah, I can't say that. There's no point even trying to pronounce Vietnamese. From Dien Bien Phu victory to Geneva Agreements of 1954. So that is the, we just had the anniversary, 70-year anniversary of the Viet Minh victory over the French at Dien Bien Phu. And that led to, the defeat of the French overall, and they were forced to withdraw from Vietnam. And then they had I believe the Geneva Accords in 1954, that even though the Viet Minh won, they defeated the French, yet at the Accords, they still divided Vietnam into two parts, North and South. And I don't know why that happened, to be honest, but I thought since the Viet Minh won, I thought they'd get the whole country, but they only got half the country, and they sort of agreed to it. War Remnants Museum. I believe Bao Tang, that means museum. And I believe the middle part, Chung Tich, is remnants. And then the last part, Xian Tran, I think that's war, but again, don't quote me on that.
Bảo tàng chứng tích chiến tranh. Bảo tàng chứng tích chiến tranh.
I think there are going to be a lot of bus tour groups coming through. And here's the entrance. And yeah, there's some tanks and helicopters and things on the outside. I'll look at those first before I go into the building, of course. So, suitable clothes and good manners are required. Queue to buy tickets. Leave your bulky luggage at the ticketing office. Do not carry banned items. Do not smoke. Here's another one though. Photography, videography, audio recording, or other activities for special purposes must be pre-approved by the museum. But I think the average person is allowed to take pictures. Everybody has a camera phone, a video phone, so it's hard to stop people from doing that. But anyway, I'm gonna put my GoPro away. And these are the hours, by the way, 7:30 to 5:30 every day. I think, yeah, it's open 7 days a week. Last admission, 5 p.m. The listed price was accurate. I'm inside now, 40,000 dong, and very different from my visit long ago. Assuming it was this museum that I went to, I'm pretty sure it was, where they have a QR code on your ticket, and you scan the QR code to go through the turnstiles. All very, very modern. And yeah, here I am in the courtyard. There's the main building, War Remnants Museum. And this is some of the remnants of the war all around me. I assume this is a Huey. I do not know the names of all this weaponry, so don't count on me to tell you exactly what all this is. And I'm not going to know what kind of a gun this is. And I'm not going to know exactly what kind of a weapon this is. If it doesn't say it on the sign, I am not really going to know. So I'm going to walk out here for a little while. So this is the Huey. I think we all know that from Vietnam War movies. The UH-1H Huey. Bi-rotor helicopter. Transport, ambulance, air conveyance, scouting missions, fire coordination. 2 6-barrel guns, 7.62 millimeter, 2 rocket launchers, rocket systems. There you have it, a Huey. And over here, this is the A1 Sky Raider, a fighter bomber. McDonnell Douglas Company, 4 20 millimeter cannons, 8 rocket launchers, 15 bombs, including napalm, phosphorus, cluster bombs. Very dramatic to be up close to these things, I must say. I think as with most modern things, it's the scale that always gets me. You see these things in, as I said, TV shows and movies all the time, and you think you know what they look like on the inside and the outside, but then say here on the inside, how bare it is. Everything is metal. There's hardly any cushioning. There's no comfort in there. And then the scale of the blades, they're huge, much wider than I would have imagined them to be. And you can see how they're controlled, the angle of them, just how huge they are and how long they are. And then the same thing with everything when you get up close. This A1 Sky Raider, you get up close to the propellers, and my gosh, they are a lot bigger than I expected, the scale of them. I could hide behind one of these things. Here's a more human-sized plane, a U-17 plane, reconnaissance and observation, 780 kilograms. Here's a speedy looking fellow. Any guesses as to what it is? I'm gonna have to look at the sign in order to figure it out. Look at that. Looking straight down the front, just how narrow that is. Just sliced through the air. Twin turrets. Machine guns poking out the front. It's very cool. Okay, this is the F-5A jet fighter. Manufactured by Northrop Norair. 10,000 kilograms. Effective time in action, hour and 45 minutes. All this power. And it, once you get it up in the air, you can keep it up there for less than 2 hours before it has to come down, refuel. It's crazy. A bell made out of a 500-pound bomb canister. Moving right along, this is an M48A3 main battle tank. Once again, the scale of this thing. Can't even imagine how much all these components weigh. The track, the wheels here, unbelievable. Imagine the amount of fuel needed to drive the engines on one of these things. That would be crazy. M41 tank, a little bit smaller, but I still wouldn't mess with it. This one is 23 tons. Just curious now. The main battle tank up here, that one was 23 tons. What's the guess for this one? 47 tons. Yeah, twice the weight. And over here, wow, a Chinook. Yeah, I knew that name. CH-47 Chinook. Versatile twin engine tandem rotor heavy lift helicopter. Designed and produced by Boeing. Yeah, another classic. Again, I say classic just from the point of view of watching war movies. You see these things in action all the time. And then check out the scale of these rotors, the blades, unbelievable. So huge. Looking at the Chinook from behind, even more impressive. I guess this would be the rear door. I was gonna call it a rear hatch, but that's way too big to call it a hatch. The whole rear end of the helicopter would just open up. You could drive vehicles inside of that thing. All right, some bulldozers for the engineering corps. None of these weapons are any good if they can't get to where they need to be, so they need roads, and they need to move things out of the way. So then you call, as far as I know, you call on the engineering corps to get the job done. D7E bulldozer, 40 tons, used in construction. Yeah, that makes sense. They were used in large-scale ground clearance projects, raising forests, orchards, rice fields, cemeteries to the ground. They had to point out cemeteries because this is, after all, supposed to be a war crimes sort of museum. So they have to point out the terrible things that this machinery was used for. This thing seems to be in excellent condition. I don't remember any of this from my visit long ago. I think a lot of these were added later on. I don't remember seeing quite as many weapons. Whoa. Mobile gun. Again, the scale of that. Wow. M107, 175 millimeter gun. The king of the battlefield, a self-propelled artillery piece. says the U.S. Army had 152 of these in the country by 1969. Can you imagine the recoil on one of these things? And I'm assuming they've got quite the elaborate set of springs and dampeners, I don't know, to handle the recoil. Or maybe the whole thing just kicks up into the air and rocks backwards. Imagine the feeling of sitting in a chair like that, your tiny little butt in that tiny little chair, and then you're controlling something this massive, sending artillery shells miles and miles away. What a crazy feeling that must have been. Look at the scale of that thing. That is absolutely huge. Just trying to get close to the front of this thing. Everything here is so well maintained, painted, cleaned up. No rust on any of these things. Whoa. I found myself standing right in front of this. I wonder if this turret was torn off something, or was it meant to be in the ground like this, like an underground defensive position? Probably that's what it is, right? Like an underground tank. Right over here, there's quite the collection. They even have all of them labeled. All kinds of bombs, different sizes, shapes, all painted the same color, interestingly. 3,000 pound bomb, 2,000 pound, 750 pound. Guided missiles, cluster bomb, leaflet bomb, shrapnel bombs, gasoline bomb, warheads, bomb fins. And they have buttons here. I don't know what the buttons do. Oh, you press the button and it gives you information on that digital screen up there. A little bit hard to read. A seismic bomb, this big giant one on the left. Wow. Let's try another one that looks interesting. Shrapnel bomb. Yeah. There's information about the shrapnel bomb. I can't really read that from here. It's too pixelated. But yeah, you can make out the graphics. And just to the right of this display of munitions is a bamboo garden with a coffee shop. So I think I might go into the museum just for a few minutes, maybe on the first floor. And then, because here's the first floor of the museum. Maybe I'll explore a little bit of it and then come out here for a coffee and then go back inside the museum coffee shop. I suppose looking at all of this stuff, I shouldn't be quite as excited as I am, simply because everything you see here, its only purpose is to kill human beings, right? They're all, it's all weaponry. It's what it's designed to do. But at the same time, I guess I don't get that emotional about a lot of things. It's a war. These are weapons of war, so of course that's what they're designed to do. So I find it hard to get indignant about things like that. I just sort of end up viewing them more as pieces of engineering and technology and design. And I guess I find them interesting from that point of view, setting aside their purpose. But yeah, it's fascinating to see. It really is. Just seeing this weaponry on display in the courtyard is probably worth the 40,000 dong entrance fee. You don't even need the rest of the museum attached to it, to be honest, for a lot of people. They'd probably if they just saw this, they would probably conclude that their 40,000 dong was well spent. And the entire museum is still ahead. There is a room on the other side there I want to go into. Those are the tiger cages. I want to take a look at those. But interestingly, when I was reading about them, they say that these were the tiger cages used by the South Vietnamese government to hold their political prisoners. So again, I think most things in here it's from the point of view of the victor, being the North Vietnamese. So when I saw that they had tiger cages here, I was a little bit surprised, because I thought this was going to be only showing American weapons, not Vietnamese weaponry like tiger cages. But then when I saw that they were the tiger cages of the South Vietnamese, then it all made sense to me. It's like, okay, now I get it. But yeah, so I was gonna pop inside. One last look at this fighter bomber. There's more here than I thought. It's not just a tiger cage. They have, apparently this guillotine is real. It was actually used by the French in Indochina. I don't know that I've ever seen one in real life. But yeah, bench, put your head through there, and there's the blade, separating you from your head, and into the basket it goes. Brutally efficient. I can just imagine the thought process that led to this. They were probably using axes to chop off people's heads, and then somebody decided, well, why don't we automate it and make it more efficient? And I guess this would be a kind of tiger cage. There's info about the guillotine, brought by the French in the early 20th century, kept for use in the big jail on La Grandière Street. In 1960, the last man who was executed by guillotine was Mr. Huang Le Ca. And I wonder if that is him over here. Yes, so he has a whole tribute to him. So he was the last person killed by this guillotine, or perhaps by a guillotine. I don't know whether it was this one in particular. And these are some examples of tiger cages, weaved by interlacing barbed wires around and on top of it. They were placed outdoors and had many sizes. The prisoners could only stoop. They couldn't sit straight up in it. Yeah, that would be pretty brutally uncomfortable to be held in there long periods of time outside. Yeah, I don't know what's up there. Another display. There's actually a sign here warning against overexertion. That, I guess because of the heat, maybe they've had a lot of foreign visitors attempt more than they're capable of because of the heat in Vietnam, going through the museum and climbing up stairs like this. Oh, I see. This is sort of an illustration of a prison, and then the guards would walk along here and have all of these cages, and you could look down on the prisoners inside these cells. Maybe there's information about this down there. Oh yeah, from up here, you get a view of the courtyard. Yeah, I can see this place getting fairly busy. I'm glad I came here early. Seems to be a good thing to do. One thing I read about the museum is that unlike most things in the United States and Canada, they're not squeamish about photography and showing you brutality. So for example, I didn't put it on video, but beside that guillotine, there was a photograph of soldiers holding up the severed heads of people, that were killed using the guillotine. Again, you generally wouldn't see things like that, I don't think, at an American museum. All of that would be sort of blurred out. I'm told that there are quite a few disturbing images throughout the museum in terms of the photography. They show you everything. They don't just talk about it. So that's something to be aware of, I guess, if you're coming here and you're sensitive or you're here with children. Next to the area with the tiger cages, there's a set of containers. From the outside, they just look like storage containers, but in fact, it's quite a large display talking about the prison system. When you step inside, there's like a illustration of what the interior of one of these prisons would look like. Sound effects. And then there's several rooms with a lot of photographs and the history of all the various prisons around Vietnam during the war. Heavy emphasis, of course, on mistreatment of prisoners all the way through here. Behind me there, those are looked like containers, shipping containers, but that's actually where the prison system exhibit is located out here. And then behind the metal part here, there's the stone walls that simulate the inside of a prison. And then all the museum information is right inside here. It's quite interesting to go through. A little bit disturbing, of course, because it was basically a long list of atrocities, entire posters of point by point by point descriptions of all the various torture methods that were used on prisoners. A lot of grim photographs of the torture being carried out, a lot of dead bodies, things like that. So again, sensitive children, you probably do not want to bring them in there. See all the young soldiers there on parade. I noticed a lot of them going through the museum. I haven't gone in the museum yet, but here in the prison area. And they all had notebooks with them. They appeared to be on some sort of a excursion, and they're all taking notes and studying things like that. So part of their military training, I guess, is to come here, learn about the history of Vietnam. Yeah, just back out in the courtyard with all the weapons and the planes. I don't think I looked at this one, now that I think of it. I don't know what it is called. It is an A-37 fighter bomber, light attack aircraft made by Cessna. Looking straight down one of the points on the wing here. And so that was the outside courtyard. And now I'm finally going to head inside. Kind of nice to get out of the sun. Yeah. I'm not sure how the museum is organized. Do you start on the first floor and work up? Or, well, here's a map here. Maybe this will give me a clue. So first floor and second floor, ground floor. So there are three floors, and then I guess this is the outside area here that we just went around. And then now this is the ground floor right here. Souvenir shop over there. I read somewhere that it sort of starts at the top and comes down, that if you want to do this in order, like number 1, for example, is up on the very top floor, and then 2, 3, 4, 5, and then working your way down. So here, number 1, historical truths. 2 is a photo collection from war correspondents who died in action in Indochina. 3 is a collection of documentary pictures from a Japanese photographer. I don't know that name, Ishikawa Bunyo. Number 4, Agent Orange during the Vietnam War. Collection of photography from a Japanese photographer, Goro Nakamura. Number 5, a children's education chamber. That's all on the second floor. And the first floor, a room dedicated to war crimes, Agent Orange effects, Agent Orange consequences, a conference room, and then down here on this floor, the ground, the world supports Vietnam in its resistance to U.S. aggression, temporary exhibits, and then the imprisonment system, that's where we just were, number 12, and then the open air exhibit. So down there on the ground floor, yeah, that's where we are here. And then the open air exhibits, the prison system, ticket booth, and up there, museum coffee. And this is the temporary exhibits room right here, number 11. So that's what I saw when I was outside. I always like to start at the beginning, so I'm going to go up to the top floor, start in room 1, and work my way down. I thought about getting a coffee first, but I think I'll get the coffee after I go through the whole museum. Wow. Again, I have no memory of this. As I said, I visited this museum a long time ago. Who knows, it may even have been in a different location for all I know. But I don't remember anything this elaborate, this new. I was just saying that because of the way this floor looked down there. Just everything looks very modern, nice. You can see the bathroom signs over there, so they have some really nice public bathrooms. And here we are up on the top floor. So that's for children. Education chamber. When I saw that down below, I thought it was some sort of a war crimes thing, like a children's re-education center, but it's actually a special room for groups of children. Not quite as, I guess you could leave your children there while you go through the museum. That would be a good idea for this place, so that's kind of nice. So there's a room over there, Historical Truths, Agent Orange exhibit, a Requiem exhibit, and then we're overlooking the central courtyard down below. Room 1, Historical Truths. And as other people have noted, the building is not air conditioned, but I'm even wearing long pants. I thought it would be more respectful to wear long pants to come here. And I'm feeling fine. Maybe I'm accustomed to the climate here, but there are a number of fans around. One over there, and I could feel this one as soon as I came in. But yeah, it's pretty warm. If you're not accustomed to this heat, you might struggle a little bit. Just leaving from the Historical Truths room. It was interesting to go through there. I'm no historian, and I haven't actually sat down and read a whole bunch of books recently about the Vietnam War, so I don't have any facts, figures, or any history in my brain right now. But overall, just going through that exhibit, I do get the sense that it has a very micro focus. Like it's telling the story of the glorious Vietnamese liberation struggle against the evil Americans and their puppet South Vietnamese government. But it is sort of missing the overall global perspective. I have a sense there's a lot more going on, sort of a small theater for the overall Cold War that was going on at the time. And you're missing a more strategic view of the French involvement, the American involvement, say, even something like the end of World War II, which often seems to get overlooked in these sorts of memorials or museums where World War II had so much to do with the end of all the European colonies, where during World War II, of course, the European powers, to a certain extent, lost control of all of their colonies in South America, Asia, Africa, everywhere. And then when Germany and Japan surrendered and World War II ended, well, of course, all of these countries had an opportunity to fight for independence, and that's when they all managed to become independent. And the whole role of World War II, the end of World War II, doesn't get mentioned here. So it's much more of a micro focus on events that took place within Vietnam, while ignoring more of a global strategic perspective, I suppose. So on to room number 2. Oh, and one thing in this room that really did jump out at me was the role of other countries, because, for example, they have numbers of allies, American allies, like how many Australian troops, how many Thai troops, Filipino, and one country jumps out in particular, South Korea, that they, at their peak, they had 50,000, according to what I read in there, 50,000 soldiers stationed in Vietnam fighting alongside the Americans. And the Americans at their peak strength were about 500,000, but the Koreans, 50,000, a tenth the size of the American forces, but that was a lot of soldiers, a lot of Korean soldiers to be fighting in Vietnam. And I don't know if that's a story that's been told. It doesn't generally come up in casual conversation about the Vietnamese War, of course, the role of South Korea. I wonder whether in South Korea it's a common story. Do they know about it there? Are there movies about it, TV shows about it? I honestly don't know. But that's the one takeaway I had from that room. The story of the South Koreans in Vietnam. That would be quite interesting. Requiem. So this is the photo collection from war correspondents, all of whom died. Wonder how they managed to do that. They only got photography from correspondents who died and none from anyone who survived. Interesting. I was wondering whether they would give any facts and figures about the photographers, and they do here. And apparently this collection was the brainchild of Tim Page and Horst Fass. And these two were injured in Vietnam, but they were not killed. And they came up with this proposal to put this exhibition together. So these are basically the photographs of all photographers who died, as I said, and there were 72 Vietnamese journalists, photojournalists who died, 16 Americans, 12 French, 4 Japanese, 11 Vietnamese of the former Saigon regime, and then from Australia, Austria, England, Germany, Switzerland, Singapore, and Cambodia. So 133 photographers in all. And it looks like they did a very nice job. This room is actually air conditioned, perhaps because these are photographs and they would be badly damaged by heat and humidity. So it is air conditioned in here. And it looks like they give a lot of information about each photograph. So you get the picture up on the wall, and then you get the story of where it was taken. So you could probably, if you were interested, you could spend an hour in here just going around the entire room and reading the story of every single photograph. I'm slowly making my way through the whole exhibit. As I said, you could spend hours up here if you wanted to take it all in, but there's just no way. You don't have the time or the energy to look at every photo, read every story. It's quite interesting. A few things jump out at me, and I suppose they're 1,000% obvious, but maybe because they're so obvious, they never get mentioned, and maybe for that reason it's worth bringing it up. One is that the photography got so much better over time. Of course, at the very beginning, it's all black and white, small images, not very detailed. And then as you get later and later in the war, suddenly you get photography like this, much larger prints, in color with a lot more detail, things like that. And one thing that's pretty obvious, kind of silly, but again, feels like it's worthwhile pointing it out, as you go through this entire exhibit and you see endless photographs of war, killing and fighting, and it's all men, right? It's men killing men, men killing other men. It's, yeah, you just generally don't see photographs of women and children in the fighting. And the last thing about this exhibit is there's a lot of emphasis on, which makes sense, the last roll of film, because I didn't think about it until I saw them mention it here. Every foreign correspondent, every journalist who was killed, they would have had cameras on them at the time. So when they were killed, there would have been rolls of film in their cameras at that time. So, of course, that they would make a big deal out of that he dies, he's killed in the fighting, and then they take the last rolls of film that he shot, and you could always see the very last picture that he took before he was killed. And again, I'm saying he all the time, because, yeah, it's all men. I haven't seen any record of women here at all. I'm down on the second floor now, well, I guess the first floor, technically, room 6, labeled War Crimes, and then over there, room 7, Agent Orange Effects, and then room 8 over there. So I'm going to go through here and see what they have to say about war crimes. Heading down to the ground floor now. I went through the War Crimes room and the Agent Orange Effects room. As expected, the Agent Orange Effects room is fairly hard to take. A lot of photographs there of the deformities resulting from Agent Orange. Pretty intense imagery in there. So if you're not ready for that, you don't want to go in there. I was actually a little bit surprised with the War Crimes room. It was milder than I expected. I don't know why. I just thought it would be a much more dramatic collection, considering the scale of the war and how personal it was for soldiers on both sides, and that it was a ground war taking place in villages and farming areas. And yeah, feelings were inflamed on both sides. And I don't know, I was sort of expecting a much more impactful exhibit than what is in there. I thought they could gather together evidence of a lot more things. And at the same time, they didn't really go into depth on it. I'm kind of interested in that topic more from the point of view of why it might happen. Like a war crime, how behavior changes in human beings when they're part of a war. And yeah, just more of a broader perspective on the issue rather than a few photographs here and there of terrible things that happened during the war. I was sort of expecting more from that exhibit, but yeah, I don't know if I'm making a whole lot of sense. But anyway, down to the ground floor and then outside to the coffee shop. I went through the ground floor fairly quickly. The main exhibit here is the temporary one, all about the French defeat at Dien Bien Phu about 70 years ago. That was quite interesting to go through, but a lot of history, and I've been reading up a lot about it, so there wasn't a lot new in there, but a lot of photography of the battle, but I didn't take any video from inside the room. And then there's a big exhibit here, sort of protests worldwide against the U.S. involvement in Vietnam during the war. And that was about kind of what you would expect to see there. But now it is time for a hot or a cold drink, maybe one of each. I ordered almost one of everything on their menu. Their coffee with milk. It's okay. It's not hot. Seems to be a theme here in Vietnam. Their coffee generally is not hot. So that's just the way people like their coffee here, I guess. I sort of anticipated that. And since everything is going to be cold, I might as well get a cold drink. Coke. And they also had up on the menu there something called toast. I don't know what's in the toast, but it is what I ordered. I think the coffee was, 30,000 dong. Toast was 40, and the Coke was 20, for a grand total 90,000 dong. So I'm just waiting for my toast. So I'm developing a pattern here, or I see a pattern that you should always get your coffee iced. That seems to be the way to go. Best value, I think, is their iced coffee. It's going to be cold anyway, so you might as well have it with ice. And I guess to sum up, I don't know what else to say. I don't think I have much else to add about the War Remnants Museum. A rating, Planet Doug approved, absolutely. It's well worth visiting, especially if you're staying in District 1. It's very close to everything, easy to get to. And the final rooms were all air conditioned. So originally it felt very hot and stuffy because there was no air conditioning. But more and more, the rooms with all the photography exhibits, those were all sealed and air conditioned. So it was very comfortable. Nice bathrooms. Well worth visiting. Planet Doug approved. Just leaving from the War Remnants Museum. Different exit though than the way I came in. But I'm heading towards a coffee shop, meeting a friend for coffee. And hopefully I'm a little bit more awake now and I'm not heading in completely the wrong direction. We'll see where I end up. I think I have to get to this corner and then turn left. And it's a brand new set of streets for me. I haven't been out in this direction, so look at this. Japanese street barbecue. Got a lot of very elaborate restaurants here, very colorful, a lot of interesting decor. So once I get to this corner, I'll be able to check with Google Maps, make sure I'm heading in the right direction. Because if I'm right, I have to go this way. Let me cross to the other side. Might be more shade over there. Success. I'm heading in the right direction. Major building off to my right. I can see surveillance cameras pointed at me. Must be some sort of a government building, embassy complex, something like that. Yeah, right there behind that major wall. So I don't know what's over there. I was talking this morning about how there aren't that many signs with an English translation. Let's see if this, that one does have English. Please contact. Okay, this one does have English. The Archbishop's office and residence. Pretty important dude, this Archbishop. I just rebooked my room at that hotel for a few more nights. I wanted to book it for another week, but I guess I waited too long. The whole place was already booked out for the week. I could only get it for a couple of more nights. And then see what happens after that. Oh. Another coffee shop there. And that continues to be the theme of my visit to Ho Chi Minh City, just my surprise. Look at that, another luxurious kind of shop over there. It's not the Vietnam I remember. Still has all the good qualities. Just very different, economically speaking. I didn't take any video there, just met up with my friend, Starbucks, had a coffee, croissant, and then an amazing hibiscus rose hip pomegranate tea mixture of some kind with some amazing bubbles. It was like a bubble tea, but they were these tiny bubbles that just burst in your mouth. Really, really cool. And we've had some really crazy weather while we were sitting inside Starbucks. Bright sun, as you can see. But then raining at the same time. Sun and rain. All the people here on their scooters. Everybody's confused. Nobody knows what to do. They're putting on their ponchos, they're taking off their ponchos, putting their ponchos back on again. Like, look at all these people. Some of them have ponchos, some don't. Yeah, crazy weather. I think he stopped, removed their ponchos. So I'm on my way back to my hotel for now. Gonna duck out of the midday sun for a little bit. And I think I can get back there down this street here. I haven't been this way yet. Looks like a really interesting street. Look at that, that's crazy. Love this city, really do. Nothing but good impressions so far. everything about the place. This is quite a narrow street. This might be the same street that I was walking along the other night when I went up to the VTEL Tower. I think this road goes all the way to the tower if you continue in that direction. Yeah, just lined with interesting shops, restaurants, bakeries, everything you can imagine here. Pretty busy. This may not have been the best choice for walking. Pretty narrow. Most of the streets I've been on here in Ho Chi Minh City, they've actually had pretty good sidewalks. This is one of the few where there isn't any room for a pedestrian. But it's interesting nonetheless. And somewhere along the way, towards the end actually, maybe a kilometer from here, I'll be passing by one of the most famous banh mi shops around. It's supposed to have some of the best banh mi in the city, but according to Google Maps, they're always so busy you can wait 40 minutes to get your sandwich, but we'll see how busy they are today. Look at this street right there. Station Coffee Takeaway. Barbecue place right there. Chicken, duck, goose barbecue right there. Banh mi place right here. This is one happening laneway, let me tell you. Oh, what's going on over here? And then with all the Grab drivers, of course, they're all zipping around, picking up meals at all these places, meals and drinks, delivering them. Intersection here seems pretty well organized. I was looking for a traffic light. Oh, there it is there. Some of them are very small. They're very unobtrusive. Do you see that pole there with the red X at the very top? That's actually the traffic light. And if you don't know where to look, they're almost impossible to see. So there must have been a pole like that over here. Oh yeah, right there, that small pole right there. I was looking in that direction, and I didn't see anything. Huh. Indian cuisine up here on the right. Indian food, banh naan curry. Naan and masaja or masata, don't know. It's a more modern kind of banh mi place, or more established. Their signature, micha, mua bong, all kinds of them. I've been eating a lot of banh mi since I arrived. They're so convenient, so filling and tasty. And inexpensive. Oh, that looks good there. The other day when I had a noodle soup, that's sort of what I thought I was getting. I thought I was getting wonton soup. But just looking at the pictures, I thought it was wonton, but it turned out to be bone soup, pork bone soup. Great big, like joint, knee joint bones that you had to gnaw on like a caveman. Ended up being really tasty, but it was not what I was expecting at all. I can't get over this street. What a great street this is. What's the name of it? I don't know if the names of the streets. So here's the traffic light. There's a good example. See that pole with the red X at the top? That's the traffic light. You can barely see it. You got to look for it. I was just saying, I don't know whether the streets here, whether the names change or not, or whether the name stays the same. So that's probably the name of the street there, that shop. It's like 59 Banbeo. That could be the name of the street. Oh, and maybe this is it, 52 Nguyen Thuong Hien. Let's see if that name, yeah, that's the name of the street here. There's 47 Nguyen Thuong Hien. So that's what this street is. And I might be getting close to the famous banh mi outlet. And I'm keeping my eye open for a barber shop. There's one right there. Looks like it might be a good one for a haircut. I'll have to make a mental note of this place. Not in the mood right now. Yeah, the rain came down really hard. There's a lot of puddles I've had to navigate. Getting close to my hotel. I don't know if there's any traffic lights here or not. I don't think so. Here you just have to make your own way across. Here comes a break in the scooter traffic. So all right, made it across. Now what I'm curious about is whether the name of the street, does it stay the same? Because there's the alleyway that I just came down, across this busy road, and over here, is it the same name? Somehow I doubt it, but I'd be happy if the name did stay the same. I like things that are organized that way. I like it when streets just have the same name all the way from one end to the other. A lot quieter here all of a sudden. So the famous banh mi place is just up ahead on the right. Gonna see whether it's open or not. And look at this interesting place right here. Everywhere you look, Dodo. Very tall, thin building. Nice little cafe. You have to forgive me for pointing out everything that I see. I just find it all so fascinating right now. Chi Lai chicken up there. Down here, Coconut House. Ooh, that looks like I might have to have one of those. Na Dua Coconut House. Must be a coconut drink. So Dura Dura Pandan coconut and sweet coconut. Hi. Hello.
Sweet coconut.
Yeah, sweet coconut, like a...
Yeah.
Okay. one. I guess large. Yeah. This one. Yeah. Okay. So I'm getting a glass of coconut juice here. And they have pandan coconut, I don't know what that is, and sweet coconut. And this one here is the sweet, is what I'm getting. And assuming the price is accurate, it's $29,000. So, oh yeah, there's my coconut, and it's got some nice pieces of sliced coconut on the top. And I'll sample it here while I'm... Time to sample it, the sweet coconut. It's good. Yeah, very good. Nice. Yeah. Yeah, coconut can have a little bit of a bitterness to it, I find. So adding a little bit of sweetener is a good idea. This will be good later on once I get back to my hotel room. Then you can open it up, and then you have the spoon, and with the spoon you can eat all of the slice. It's filled with coconut slices. All right, walking along with my coconut drink. Could be colder for me. I wish it was full of ice. It's more like room temperature. I would like it more if it were really ice cold, but hey, that's just sort of me and one of my quirks too. I've seen more and more of these places around, which I should make a mental note of them, where like a buffet style. So I guess you can get some rice and then a little bit of all of these, and then sit down in there for a good meal. So. Hello. So the banh mi place is supposed to be here, but I haven't seen it yet. Oh, this is it here. Banh mi Trang. This is the place. But maybe it's not open. Oh, okay, this would be the door over here. Hello. Okay. That's where it is. On Google Maps, it was listed as busy as it gets. And I saw some notations about how you can wait a long time to get a sandwich, but right now it doesn't seem to be busy. But I'm not sure whether it's open or not. So. It's one great thing about a climate like this. It is hot. No argument from me about that. And if you do a lot of walking, it's sort of a pleasure because you drink a lot. I mean, you're so hot, you're sweating all the time, but that means you get the pleasure of having so many drinks along the way. All right, back onto a main street. And I think I continue in that direction. Another banh mi place right there. Banh mi Fit or something like that. Okay. Gotta get across this road. And if I'm not mistaken, the park near my hotel is right down here at the end. I cross the park and I'm home. I think I came down here the other night like quite late at night. I came down this same road, I think, or a similar part of this road, and all of these shops were closed. Now I can see they're all very similar. They all do printing and license plates. Yeah, fascinating. as always, to see how the same type of store clusters together. So one street here that makes signs, and there's 50 different small shops here that all offer the exact same service. Looks like trophies, plaques, small signs for shops and stores, push-pull signs for doors, things like that. Yeah, address signs. Huh. So if you were sitting somewhere in Ho Chi Minh City thinking, I really need a sign for my business or my house to show the address, and you wonder where to go, and you probably look around the city for a month, you can never find a place that can do it for you, and it turns out that every single shop in the city is right here on this one street. An entire line of them. Look at that. This is something I wanted to check out from the other day. I took a bus back here, and I got off the bus over there down that street right ahead of me, but then I noticed that the bus turned right into here. So I probably could have stayed on the bus until it went into this little bus station right here. So it looks like a bus terminal for all the buses. But I don't know if passengers are allowed in there to get on the buses or not. But yeah, oh yeah, I see people on the buses. So it looks like it's like a terminal station right here. Bus 20, bus 72, 28, 13, 52 over there. That's one of my buses. Okay, cool. And once again, my day began here at Little Hanoi Egg Coffee, and it's ending at the same intersection with Little Hanoi Egg Coffee right up there. And there's the park. And as I've done on multiple occasions already, I think, as I walk down the edge of the park here, just outside of my hotel, I think this is where I'll end the video. Yeah, interesting little adventure this morning. Went to the War Remnants Museum, of course. That was what I set off to do. But just as interesting as the War Remnants Museum was the walk to get there, and now the walk back again, including things like my coconut drink. I think I mentioned when I came through here this morning that all these businesses on the side do so many things, and you see an array of boxes and packages and shipments all pouring in and out of these places. So they offer tours for foreigners, tours like things like that, but then they probably have a dozen other side businesses all operating together. You often see that in this part of the world, where they make use of all their resources to run as many businesses as possible out of the same office space, out of the same warehouse, the same home, anything at all that they have access to. And I mentioned that passenger buses with foreign visitors all stop here as well. Looks like they've dissipated, but I'll bet when this bus pulled up, like 50 of me with our backpacks all poured off of this bus right here. It gets very jammed, very crowded. Whew, and back in my room, hot and sweaty at long last. My GoPro overheated and shut down while I was down on the street there. So that is it for this morning's small adventures. Gonna open up the curtains here, let in a bit of light. Show you the outside world. Now sort of mid-afternoon, we're probably gonna get a bit of rain. You can see some rain clouds moving in up there. Here's me in my hotel room. So yeah, that was a lot of fun. I enjoyed the visit to the War Remnants Museum. Planet Doug approved as a place to visit when you're in Ho Chi Minh City. Why not? Interesting place. And then the walk to get there and the walk back here, equally as interesting, probably as interesting, if not more so. So that's it. I'm back here. Gonna have a cold drink of water and then a hot cup of coffee and shut down. So that's it for today. And as always, I'll see you in the next video.